My name is Sonny Sinay, and you're watching my new cover.
Leaving to find my soul, told her I had to go. And I know it ain't pretty when our hearts get broke. Too young to feel this old, watching us both turn cold. Oh, I know it ain't pretty when two hearts get broke. Yeah, I know it ain't pretty when two hearts get broke. I hope someday we'll sit down together and laugh with each other. But these days, all our troubles we lay to rest, and we wish we could come back to these days, these days. These days. Oh, these days. 3 years of ups and downs, nothing to show for it now. And I know it ain't pretty when the fire burns out, calling me when I'm drunk, remind me of what I've done. And I know it ain't pretty when you're trying to move on, yeah. I hope someday we'll sit down together and laugh with each other. But these days, all our troubles we lay to rest, and we wish we could come back to these days, these days. Oh, I know, I know, I know. No, I know, I know. Oh, I know, I know, I know. These days. Oh, I know, I know, I know. No, I know, I know. Oh, I know, I know, I know. These days. Cigarettes in the ashtray, reminiscing on those past days. I thought you ended up with my last name, but that changed. And I traveled around the world thinking where you're living at now. Heard you moved to Austin, got an apartment and settled down. Every once in a while I started texting, write a paragraph, but then I delete the message. Thinking about you like a pastime, I could cry you a river, get you baptized. Or I wasn't ready to act right, used to always think I'd get you back right. They say that things fall apart, we're gonna move to Brooklyn, you were gonna study art. Love is just a tool to remind us who we are, that we're not alone and we're walking in the dark. I hope someday we'll sit down together and laugh with each other. But these days, all our troubles we lay to rest, and we wish we could come back to these days, these days. We wish we could come back to these days, these days, these days.
Thank you so much for watching. Now don't forget to subscribe or leave a comment below, and I'll see you next time.